Heed the heavens, the grand Theogenes demands. Azea stirs. Yes, as wind is wanton to do, magic or otherwise. I am tired and drunk on rage. My eyes seek to make a fool of me. And a fool I am made. Grunges Baldric, revered by soldiers, dwarves, and dimwits aplenty.
Alright boys, we're getting close. These kind of teasers do not drop idly. In fact, they almost inevitably come either a day or a week before huge news. So, Warhammer 3 info in all likelihood is dropping very, very soon. When exactly that will be, only time will tell, but you don't need me to tell you that the hype train is scorching its way into station at this point, and if you don't hop on now, you're gonna get left behind. Now, at first glance, it doesn't seem like there's a whole lot going on in this trailer. I mean, it's a teaser. They're not going to drop everything on our heads at once, but if we scry deeply into our tomes of knowledge and do a bit of soul searching, we might just find something soulless waiting for us on the other side. It's actually kind of a similar vibe to the corrupted Zinchi Light Wizard we had in the Warhammer 1 announcement all the way back in 2016, or 2015 rather. We have an Imperial Mage doing his best to look out for the predations of chaos. We get a fantastic look at the Grand Astrolabe in the Empire capital of Altdorf, the shining jewel of the Celestial Order. This is the Warhammer equivalent of the Palantir, what the Order of Azure uses to gaze into the space-time continuum. Essentially, it's a massive clock adorned with a spike of pure silver, with many hands and dials and intricately carved symbols that allow mages to track and predict the alignment of stars and planets. Which is a huge deal in the Warhammer world, because celestial bodies and their maneuvering are usually portents of doom, that the veil between worlds is lifting, like during Geheimnisnacht, and when constellations aren't showing up at the right time, or they're misplaced, they're in a different part of the night sky, well, creepy creatures from the void start to enter the picture, and that can spell doom for the people of the Warhammer world. Now in the lore, the astrolabe dial watched most closely is the twitching needle representing the fell moon Morslip. Should this dial signal the coming of a storm of magic, celestial wizards are sent far and wide to prepare the Empire for the coming tempest. Storms of magic in Warhammer mean demons. Storms of magic in Warhammer mean bad things are on the way. So Heaven's mages use this astrolabe to snatch little glimpses of the future. What kind of future could they be looking out for in this kind of situation? Well, why would a mage be gazing into the depths during these trying times? As our boy monologues in the trailer, staring into space, he happens upon an important constellation called Grunges Baldric. It's one of the star signs of the Old World, the sign of martial pursuits, appearing as a dwarf with a belt slung over his shoulder, hanging low in the night sky. This constellation is typically in ascendance during late spring and early summer, and people born under it are known to be disciplined, honorable, and skilled at arms. Essentially, this is a sign of sacred reverence for dwarfs and soldiers alike. It signifies excellence at arms, it signifies skill in battle, and it signifies discipline in formation. And as such, many lords start their summer campaigns with a great feast beneath this constellation. Those born under the sign tend to take soldiering very seriously. They fanatically hone their skills and live rigid lifestyles to toughen themselves for the coming wars. Now, if we combine all that information with what's said in the teaser, there's a kernel, a nugget of truth, a picture that begins to form. The Celestial Wizard says in the trailer, "I am tired and drunk on rage." Does that sound, I don't know, kind of familiar to you guys? Drunk on rage, scrying into the future to predict maybe a demonic invasion of sorts? What could that mean? Who amongst the ruinous pantheon is a bit of a rage monster? It's important to remember that constellations mean different things to different races in the Warhammer world. What appears as a dwarf in the night sky to the Dawi would appear as a Chaos Warrior to the followers of Chaos. What might be a portent of doom for one race is a sign of inspiration for another. Just like we saw with the twin-tailed comet, For the Empire and Lizardmen, it means Sigmar and the Rise of Sotek respectively, but for Chaos, it takes on a darker meaning. The same holds true here. Well, for the Empire, Grungni's Baldric might mean professional soldiering, skill at arms, and discipline. For a Chaos God, it takes on a bit of a darker meaning. And in the curious case of Khorne, it can only mean one thing. Atop the world, he sits upon a throne of skulls. Blood for the Blood God, skulls for the Skull Throne. First and only amongst the Ruinous Pantheon, the most powerful singular being in all of Warhammer Fantasy, bar none, a god who has claimed eternal dominion over the Immaterium. Unrelenting violence and frothing berserker rage are his calling cards. Kill, maim, burn is the rallying cry of his legions as they conquer the known world and beyond. They peel back the frills and excess, they say forget all that stuff, and they submerge themselves fully in the true heart of darkness, the true essence and beating soul of chaos. Violence, madness, and eternal war given form, tied up in a bright red crimson bow. Towering figure, shrouded in flame and darkness, encased in armor, with a face not unlike his wolves of war, predatory, hungry, and always searching for new soldiers to forge in the crucible of battle. His mighty throne room, built atop his great brass tower, is supported by 8 gigantic pillars in honor of his sacred number. Yeah, this is hinting at Khorne, and Khorne is a big deal, and it seems very likely in this teaser about Warhammer 3, where demons and chaos will take center stage, that he would be the logical chaos god to lead off with. And frankly, Grungni's Baldric, this constellation hanging low in the night sky, doesn't tie closely to any of the other deities in the Ruinous Pantheon. Now, what I'm going to be really curious about is if this will be a singular teaser, and this is just some kind of an overarching hint at chaos in general, or if it's literally just straight up talking about Khorne. Does that mean Khorne is a playable faction on launch day? Does that mean that other Demons of Chaos factions and other Chaos God factions will not be playable on launch day? Or is it just a hint at the Ruinous Pantheon and the fact that demons are coming in general? Because if it's just a hint at demons, I mean, we already knew that was coming in the first place. I don't think we'll really know until we see the trailer, which is probably going to drop pretty soon, or if we get more teasers like this one. And if we get more teasers like this one, will those be explicit hints at the playable factions, or just content that we might see in the game at some point later down the road? It's kind of hard to know at this point because there's a lot of ways the Creative Assembly could tackle it, right? We've talked about it before. Demons of Chaos Undivided led by Be'lakor in the same way that their 8th edition army book worked. Demons of Chaos just being an undivided faction, you combine all the demons in one, and that's your faction. That's the only Chaos roster we get besides Warriors of Chaos Undivided. They'll have their marks in that, but it won't be specific mono-god factions. Or they could go the road that I personally think Creative Assembly should go down, make them mono-gods, and do a Demons of Chaos Undivided faction that is separate. So Be'lakor leads one faction, they get all the demon stuff. There's a Warriors of Chaos Undivided led by Archaon and Kolek, and then there are the 4 Chaos God factions that combine the demons and mortals of each of those Chaos Gods. So Khorne gets his demons, Khorne gets his warriors, his frothing berserkers with dual axes and the berserker warriors of chaos crests, all that good stuff. I feel like that is the best way to tackle it because you get the most lords, the most content, the most units, most regiments of renown, but it's hard to know. I think we'll get more of a better picture as the days progress, and hopefully we'll get a trailer very soon. I will say, this teaser is kind of specific. Grungni's Baldric is an obscure constellation. I mean, I've never even heard of it until I saw the teaser. It's a constellation focused on one singular aspect, on honor and on war. Those are Khorne's realms. That's what Khorne is all about. Another thing to note is that if a bunch of other constellations start showing up out of season, that's gonna be a huge concern for the Forces of Order. It's like a sign of Armageddon, which frankly, we already have the foresight to know is indeed what's coming in Total War Warhammer 3. Full-scale, demonic invasion of the old and new worlds alike. Basically, end times. So there is a lot to be hype about here. I am super excited for what is coming. I think the Warhammer 3 trailer is going to be just completely bananas. I think it's going to blow our mind, and I'm hoping to see it sometime in the next several weeks. I mean, generally, when Creative Assembly unleashes a teaser like this on the world, the trailer drops the next day, but for some of this bigger stuff, it could be a little bit of a longer wait. Either way, I think there will be a build-up here. I don't think it's just going to be one thing and then they're just like, let's do the trailer. Let's see what comes forth. Let's see what it means. We'll try and divine what it's all saying, and I hope you guys will be with me every step of the way. Hope you guys enjoyed, and I'll see you all in the next video. Warhammer 3, let's get hype, baby.